Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pope. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad that you could be here today. All right, let's look at what we got going on. Today is the 12th of November. We have a moon sign that is making a transition from Scorpio into Sagittarius. The transition has occurred or will be occurring at 9:14 a.m. We could see that at 8:54 a.m. is when we go void of course. So the void of course period today only lasts for about 20 minutes, from 8:54 to 9:14. So at this present time, we're still in the moon sign of Scorpio, and we're getting ready to move into a void of course, and that will be before this hour is up, and shortly into the next hour, we'll go into the next sign. So what are these signs? Let's refresh ourselves. This is the moon sign. Currently, Scorpio, it's a water sign, but water is going to be changing to fire, temperance. Okay, fire is all about balance. We see the balance that's going on here between the various elements, the 1 foot on the land, one on the water. It's all about balance. It's all about tempering our activities, tempering our thoughts. And of course, we're coming out of this card of death, emotional death. So we're experiencing a lot of things. We've experienced a lot of emotions during this time that we are going through, during this Scorpio time, because our sun sign is in Scorpio for another week yet. So we're going through a lot of emotions, processing them. Now our subconscious is one to take and find a way to make those ideas a bit more useful. Okay, so let's take a further look here at what's going on. Okay, we have 10:24, or actually 10:47 a.m. Chiron the healer is going to be in a trine, a good positive aspect there with communication. And this afternoon, 3:41 p.m., Mars and Libra. So we're going to be energized in an area of looking for justice, balancing things out, karmic balance. Later in the evening, Venus gets into the mix with Sagittarius here in wanting to help bring some inspiration and imagination and creativity. And a little more than an hour after that, we have a conjunction between Sagittarius, the moon sign, and Saturn, which is going to bring us some discipline and focus to the fire that is around us. And then finally, 10:48 p.m., we're challenged to look at things in a new perspective because we have a block between Sagittarius, our truthfulness, that truth seeker, and what it is we're seeing. So we're challenged, take a new perspective, look at things in a different way, and see what we might gather from that information. Okay. Jewish calendar 30 Cheshvan, last day of this particular month. Next one begins tomorrow, and Kislev is the name of that day. Daily thought for today and the last day, Cheshvan, is just do something. You have to do something when you choose not. What you choose is not the issue, neither are the neat little tricks and the conniving. All that really matters is that you do your job honestly, as the best you can, using the talents and skills which the Creator blessed you with. As he blesses you with these talents, so he will bless you in whatever you do. Mine Oracle, Dreamspell Oracle, second day on a new wave spell, the wave spell of the wind and inspiration. Today's the second day of that. Challenge of that inspiration. So it'd be called the lunar tone. Symbol for today is the Knight, N-I-G-H-T, which is all about the time when we experience our dreams. And in that dream subconscious realm, we understand the abundance available to us. So we have the lunar night guided by the eagle, which is our vision. Our hidden power is the reflection that we're able to see when we look in the mirror. Our challenge for today is exploration, but our like-minded energy is our ability to question, to be the warrior. The phrase for today is I polarize in order to dream, stabilizing intuition. I seal the input of abundance with the lunar tone of challenge. I'm guided by the power of vision. Moon phase is just a slight sliver, 1%. It's a waxing moon, which means it's going to be going up, and it will be doing this for the next 2 weeks. Space weather solar wind currently at 466.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K index quiet at a 2. Could get as high as a 5 over the next 24 hours. Coronal holes really aren't any concern we need to have right now. M-class flare possibility 15. X-class at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity 30% in the mid-latitudes, dropping down from 35, and in high latitudes going from 60 to 40, so things are subsiding. You know, I'm always fascinated by these kind of pictures that they take. As you may know, and I'm going to play some more information, I do believe that there is something to the flat Earth model. Another name for the flat Earth model is the enclosed system model. Well, one of the things that this enclosed or flat Earth model says is that around the outer edge of this planet, which is a flat plane, circular plane, is a wall of ice. So whenever I see these images, one thing that I always seem to notice is there's this white thing here. And I know people could say, oh, maybe it's just a light. These things are very distinctive in here, and I almost kind of wonder, is this that wall of ice? You know, if we were to look at from a certain angle, yeah, we might say there's a curve there. But we look at it from another perspective, we could imagine ourselves on a flat plane that is round, and here's a nice little wall all around what's taking place. So I'm going to, I promise I will in the very near future do another show on the flat Earth, because I want you to join me in my insanity. No, I want you to see what the subject is all about, because there's something to it. There's really something to it, and there's a lot more people that are investigating this and learning information about this theory than one would possibly imagine. I know people think it's something that was easily decided, but when you really hear all the evidence, Flat Earth Clues, that's the one you want to start with, by Mark Sargent. Flat Earth Clues. Watch it with an open mind, and you will have questions, because you will see that there are descriptions that are given that make absolute sense. So I digress from where we are today, but we will get to that in the near future. Today is the 12th. It says by 8:30, Orion is clearing your eastern horizon, depending on how far east or west you live in the time zone. Aldebaran is high above Orion. Above Aldebaran are the Pleiades. Aldebaran and the Pleiades always serve as Orion's announcers. All right, and there you have it. That is the end of our cosmic weather. What we're dealing with today, Scorpio energy turning into fiery energy unconsciously, while the conscious mind continues to deal with its emotions. So we need to press on and process these emotions and feelings in a constructive way. All the non-constructive way that's going on out there doesn't help anybody. We need to be constructive in what we are doing. All right, there you go. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes?
It's time for the UFO news with Joshua Poet.
All right, Thank you very much, Dirk. See, I got all crazy with the buttons and hit the wake up song. We'll get to the wake up song. I think today would be a good day for waking up. What do you think? All right, UFO news. We got a number of stories here that are of interest. The first one here, this is made the Business Insider and also the front page of Yahoo News. Astronomers freaking out over this newly discovered Earth-sized planet, and for good reason. A newly discovered exoplanet has a lot of astronomers excited, and for good reason. The exoplanet, dubbed GJ1132b, is about the size of Earth and lives in a solar system roughly 39 light years from Earth. A team of scientists reported in the November 12, 2015 issue of journal Nature. Furthermore, the exoplanet is closest rocky Earth-sized exoplanet ever discovered by far. The next closest is about 3 times further away. GJ1132b's size and distance are what of astronomers like Drake Deming at the University of Maryland, who are not part of the study, say that this planet is arguably the most important planet ever found outside the solar system. The reason is because GJ1132b is close enough for astronomers to point their telescopes at it and sniff out any traces of an atmosphere. Studying the atmospheres of exoplanets for signs of life is the next big step in the search for extraterrestrial life beyond our solar system. But it's an extremely difficult project because most Earth-sized planets, like exoplanets, that astrobiologists think are most likely to harbor life, are too distant to study in any detail. One of these ways astronomers determine the chemical composition of grassland planets in our own solar system is by studying the light passing through the atmospheric layers, like Earth, shown in the photo below, and our crescent moon in the foreground. All right, so there you go. I'm going to leave the rest because there's a lot more to the story for you to read about what's going on. Now, here's a story taking us to the Dogon. You may have heard of the Dogon and the Nommos and Sirius B. Well, if you haven't, here we go. In Mali, West Africa, lives a tribe of people called the Dogon. The Dogon are believed to be of Egyptian descent, and their astronomical lore goes back thousands of years to 3200 BC, according to their traditions. The star Sirius has a companion star which is invisible to the human eye. This companion star has a 50-year elliptical orbit around the visible Sirius and is so extremely heavy it also rotates on its own axis. This legend might be of little interest to anybody but the two French anthropologists Marcel Garol and Germain Ditterin, who recorded it for 4 Dogon priests in the 1930s. Of little interest, except is that what they say is exactly true. So how did the people who lacked any kind of astronomical devices know how much about an invisible star? The star, which scientists called Sirius B, wasn't even photographed until it was done by a large telescope in 1970. The Dogon stories explain that also, according to the oral traditions, a race from the Sirius system called the Nommos visited Earth thousands of years ago. The Nommos were ugly, amphibious beings and resembled mermen and mermaids. They also appear in the Babylonian, Akkadian, and Sumerian myths. The Egyptian goddess Isis, who is sometimes depicted as a mermaid, is also linked with the star Sirius. The Nommos, according to the Dogon legend, live on a planet that orbits another star in the Sirius system. They landed on Earth in an ark, made a spinning descent to the ground with great noise and wind. It was the Nommos that gave the Dogon the knowledge of Sirius B. Legend goes on to say that the Nommos are also furnished the Dogon with some interesting information about their own solar system, that the planet Jupiter has 4 major moons, that Saturn has rings and the planets orbit the sun. These are all facts discovered by Westerners only after Galileo invented the telescope. The story of the Dogon and their legend was first brought by popular attention by Robert K.G. Temple in a book published in 1977 called The Sirius Mystery. Science writer Ian Ridpath and astronomer Carl Sagan made a reply to Temple's book, suggesting that the modern knowledge about Sirius may have come from Westerners who discussed astronomy with the Dogon priests. The priests often included the new information in the older traditions, thus the term misled the anthropologists. All right, you can see there's more to the article. Let's continue moving on. Here we have a UFO seen near the sun, November 9th. Now, what is this object? I don't know. We've seen it before, though. We've seen these type of things before. So the first question we asked ourselves, is this a real object? Or is this something that was photoshopped into there? And if that's the case, then perhaps we'd have to ask if other times they were photoshopped as well. I don't have an answer for you. If somebody does, please be glad to share that. But we can definitely see that there's something up there. All right, moving on. Nick Jonas says UFO sighting changed his life. In an interview with This Morning on the UK's ITV on Monday, the pop star explained how a UFO sighting has impacted him. This was probably 8 years ago, said Jonas. I was in my backyard in LA. I looked up at the sky and saw 3 flying saucers. The Levels singer admitted that he questioned everything about experience, saying, "I looked at my friend and said, 'Are you seeing this, or am I losing my mind?'" Jonas added that they were seeing the same thing. Then I went online and looked, and there were 3 identical sightings 2 weeks before. The close encounter ignited a flame of interest in Jonas, who has paid attention to the coverage of flashing blue lights spotted in the California sky on Saturday. The U.S. Navy later took credit, saying this colorful display was the result of a Trident missile. I'm obsessed with UFO stuff in general, so I'm all over this, Jonas said of the reports. The blue light freaks me out in the best way possible. In fact, Los Angeles residents shouldn't be surprised if they see Jones on the hunt for extraterrestrials. I'm really excited to get back to LA. I leave a couple of hours and I'm going to try to find a UFO, he joked. I'm very excited. Jonas is keeping his day job. The former Disney star will go on tour with pal Demi Lovato. The company will be refreshing as he missed siblings Joe and Kevin since the Jonas Brothers split in 2013. All right. So there you go. Nick Jonas sighting. Commercial pilot describes main rectangle UFO. All right. So drawing of the whole area, what was seen. Open Minds reports that a Hampshire witness, Ed Warner, who is a commercial pilot, saw a bright, pure white light that turned into 2 vertical rectangles, according to testimony in the MUFON database. The reported witness and his wife were driving home from a trip to Maine at the top of Torrey Hill on Kesseridge Mountain Road when the object was first seen at 8:05 p.m., October 15th. We observed a round white light above to our left. I'm guessing 800 to 1,000 AGL. It appeared to be an easterly heading, but turned to the northeast. When it did so, it first appeared as a round light the size of a pencil eraser, became 2 vertical rectangles side by side, 3 to 4 times as wide. High as wide, a small divide between them. It also appeared to be climbing an altitude of 5-degree angle. Okay. And last, second mysterious black UFO crashes in Spanish fields, sparking anxiety among villagers. For the second time in 5 days, a mystery object has been discovered. As fears grow, more might fall from space. Something rather strange is happening in the skies above a Spanish village, and worried residents are demanding answers. For the second time in just 5 days, a mystery cylindrical object weighing about 20 kilos has fallen into the fields of Calspara, an area of Murcia with 9,700 inhabitants. On November 3rd, there was a sense of wonderment and some amusement after a huge metal ball crashed into a goat farm and was discovered by 2 bemused shepherds. But yesterday, villagers were stunned to find a second globe had plummeted to Earth in the hamlet of the Villa Vieja, just a stone's throw from the other side. Okay, a farmer put his urgent call to the civil guard, who's been guarding the second object all night while investigators arrive. Meanwhile, the area's been sealed off. Very interesting indeed. Okay, so there you have it. That is our UFO news for today. How about instead of wake up, because we did the wake up yesterday, how about if we jump to Great Spirit? Great Spirit. It's a little more important. Here we go.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, show us the way, show us the way, show us the way to live in peace every day. Great Spirit, show us the way, show us the way, show us the way to live in peace every day. Oh, 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 oh. The wheel of life keeps rolling, rolling, rolling round and round, round and round. Nothing you can do will stop it, stop it. Nothing will slow it down. You gotta keep on going, going strong, going strong. You gotta keep believing and keep moving on. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, send down your love, shine down your light, show us the way each and every day. Great Spirit, send down your love, shine down your light, show us the way each and every day. Oh, 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 oh.
All right. Great Spirit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So, craziness going on in the world. Talked about it yesterday. We made it through yesterday. There's no, you know, no major incidents that occurred by that, so everybody made it through. So that's good. That's good. I had a conversation with somebody afterwards. I was talking to them about, what I had talked about, and they were very concerned. Another white person, very concerned about the things I was saying, addressing the topic of racism. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? We're just supposed to ignore it? We're just supposed to ignore the subject and just let it continue to roll on without any discussion about how we could make it better? I know sometimes in the discussion things get intense. Sometimes, it's required. Sometimes we have to listen to things that are a little difficult to hear, even if they're not pleasant, because sometimes they're the truth. And we're seeing a lot of truths going on. The things that I'm talking about, they're not foreign things. There's articles supporting what's going on at these universities and how they're becoming oversensitive to everything. I don't know if you heard, but, yesterday, after all of this incident occurred, this kid who was the head of the student body at University of Missouri, he got some crazy idea that the KKK was going to be there on the campus. So he tweeted it out to everybody. Tweeted it out, or not tweeted it, but sent it out through a app to all the students. And guess what? Huge uproar on the campus because there were a lot of black folks who thought that there were KKK members coming to kill them. However, that wasn't true. But during the interim, of all of the concern, a lot of people didn't go to class. One professor, a white professor, who apparently was one of the beloved professors at the university, he tweeted out to the students and let them all know that the class was still going on and the test was going to be going on and he would be there and that they needed to stand up to the bullies. He didn't tell them anything they had to do. He was encouraging them to stand up to the bullies, encouraging them to be there to class. But you would have think he said something horrible, because apparently telling others to stand up to bullies, well, that only gets you criticism from those who are overly sensitive in the world today. So this professor, a beloved professor of the university, sent out another message saying the test was canceled, that the students could take it, according to the way that they needed to take it, and that he was resigning. Now it's been discovered that this student who put out the message about the KKK was not telling the truth. He was a bit dishonest about it. So we have a dishonest student told a lie that resulted in a lot of panic. The police got involved, had to come look at the campus, see what was going on there. Disruption of school. Here's a weird thing. In 2011, the particular kid who's considered a race activist met with Obama. Yet another time we hear where there's been a racial incident and a person involved has met with the person who is supposed to be the president, the leader. Instead, all he has done is incite more and more problems. So, living in this day and age, we could look at all of these problems day in and day out, and we could just blow a fuse, get all upset by them. I do. You do. We all do. It's natural. But at some point in time, we have to look at what the solutions are. We have to figure out our way through this, because we're not going to get anywhere when we're just, trying to approach each other in certain discussions, because some people will turn off. It's hard to have a discussion with racism in the world because you have a portion of society who believes that a certain other portion can't be racist and therefore they can say whatever they want, and it's all kind of silly. Blacks are racist, whites are racist, Mexicans are racist, Asians are racist. Everyone at some degree or another is a bit racist. But what does that mean? You have pride for your race and you have dislike for another race because of things that they are doing? Sometimes maybe it's due to the color of one's skin. But sometimes it's because there's a lot of members of that particular race which are doing a lot of bad things. And that's what's going on. But it's being confused that every time it's pointed out about bad things, instantly skin color comes into the mix, and it's like, oh, how could you say this about these people doing these bad things? Don't you realize what the color of their skin is? And by saying that they of that skin color were doing something bad, don't you understand that that's a racist activity? See how silly that is? Extremely silly. If someone is doing something wrong, wrong is wrong. Doesn't matter what color you are. So we need to stop defending those who are doing things wrong. We need to stop defending the criminals, and we need to start enhancing positivity. We need to start encouraging those who are doing things the right way. And we certainly have to stand up. There's a really bad precedent of people afraid to talk. Afraid to talk. And that was a concern in the conversation I had the other day with this individual. They were afraid that what I was saying was, they wouldn't dare say something like that. Well, that's the problem. People aren't speaking up about what's really going on because they're afraid. More specifically, I'm not going to dance around it, white people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid if they do, even if what they're saying might be correct, it might have a backlash from the black community. Oh, well, we can't have that. So it's better just to shut up and allow all the behavior to go on that's poor behavior and just turn a blind eye to it, right? I don't think so. We don't solve a problem that way. You see, if you have people behaving badly in a country, it makes the country look bad. If you're a member of a race, if you're a white person and there's white people behaving badly, guess what? It makes your race of white people look bad. If you're a race of blacks and you have black people behaving badly, it has a effect of making everyone in that race look poorly, and so on and so on. So in order for us not to look bad, we need to start looking good by doing the right things, acting righteously. And the only way to act righteously is to understand the role of God in our lives. Now, God has been completely removed, and there is fights taking place on where God belongs and where it doesn't. I'm going to read today Matthew chapter 24. I read a bit of it yesterday. Today I'm going to read the whole thing because I want you to understand that what is going on in the world was prophesied quite a long time ago, that these things were going to happen. So now that they're happening, we can either disregard this work, this book, and all the other prophecies and say, it's just a coincidence. Or we might ask ourselves, how is it that a book that was written 1,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, how is it that that book accurately described what is going on in our world today? And if we actually ask that smart question, we might start to see that there were those who had insight into what is going on in the future, and therefore try to align us with the proper way in which we address that. Jesus came to set an example. Yeshua set an example for us, and the example that we should have is one of courage, not kowtowing to all of the problems in the world, but standing up to them. That's exactly what Yeshua did. Stood up to the problem, stood up to the Pharisees, stood up to the Sadducees, stood up to those who were trying to tear down society. So let's listen to what Jesus, Yeshua, has to say. Matthew 24. I'm going to do this from the King James Version. There's various versions. Just pick one. I'm going to use this one just because. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world? Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying that I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. And all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill ye, and ye shall be hated of all the nations for my name's sake. And then, excuse me, and then many shall be offended, and they shall betray one another, and they shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever reads this, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is in the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, as such was not the beginning since the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. For if any man shall say unto you, Lo, Christ is here or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Truly, behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whosoever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall be the sun darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all of the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that the summer is high. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. Then shall two be in the field, one shall be taken, the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good men of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler of all of his goods. And if that evil servant shall say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, to eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in the day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of. And he shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. Therefore shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right, this one gives a pretty strong message here. Now, I could understand why those in the world, maybe those who are running amok, don't want to hear what's going on, because we have a lot of people in the world running amok. Craziness, doing all sorts of things. You can read in here and you understand that these events are taking place right now as we speak. Wars are going on, rumors of wars going on, deceivers, false prophets, people being oppressed, people being victimized. The abomination is in office. I mean, one after another. We got the offended going on. People are betraying each other. So this was known was going to happen. This has been known to happen. Somebody really had a good sense of human nature to know how we would behave. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to behave erratically, out of control, or are we going to get our act together? Remember, not too long ago, there was an executive order that was passed that said that the government could do behavioral experiments upon the people. We could be in the middle of a big behavioral experiment right now. All of these events taking place at this university could be a behavioral event to see how people are going to act. Events taking place across the country could all be part of that. Remember, we have an administration that is not looking out for the American interest. They want to tear America apart. Obama is a Muslim. He's a terrorist. All the proof is out there that exists, so I'm not just speaking randomly. It exists, but people still want to turn a blind eye. They still wonder, why does Obama show all this sympathy towards the Muslims? Can't figure that one out. People are confused. They don't seem to understand. But once you understand Obama's Muslim, guess what? It answers the question why Obama is showing sympathy to the Muslims. Because that's what he is. That's what he's about. When Americans wake up to that. But I know there's a lot of those liberals and Democrats, those who voted for him, who don't want to know. They would rather have their head in the hole in the ground. Pretend that this doesn't exist because it's too heavy for them. They can't think about it. They're too offended. So, I got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. We need to fix the problem. It starts individually with you, with me, and everybody else. Okay? Everybody else. But we have to be honest with what's going on. I told you yesterday honestly how I feel, and that is how I feel, and I stand by what I said. And we all need to get to the point where we speak up about how we feel. Because I know what I was saying is what a lot of you are thinking, and what a lot of people in the world are thinking. So let's be courageous and continue to encourage each other to be courageous, to speak up against the injustices. Bad things happen when good people say and do nothing. You know, during the conversation I had with my friend, he pointed out the incident with Joe Paterno. And I said, good case, good example of what I'm saying. He was a coach, good coach, long storied career, but he had an assistant coach that was doing something inappropriate towards players and young boys, and the good coach decided he did not want to say and do anything. So a good person did not say or do anything, and because of that, over the years, more people were injured by the process, more people were affected by this assistant, and ultimately, when everything was discovered, the coach, Joe Paterno, who chose not to say anything, his reputation is now really going down the tubes. Because what people remember is his connection to this disreputable individual. When good people say and do nothing, bad things happen. There was a good person who decided not to say and do anything, and now he is the one who has been hurt by it. So when good people say and do nothing, ultimately it comes back and they are the very ones that get hurt. And once you get hurt, it's a little too late to say and do something. The time to say and do something is before the hurting begins. The time to say and do something is before the gun is pointed at your head. Okay? Black Lives Matter is going about things the wrong way. They're taking a very terroristic approach. And we can see that there are definite connections between members of their organization and terrorism. All one has to do is just go and look and see the connections. So, good people need to say and do something. And the more that we do, perhaps the individuals who are part of that organization who aren't thinking about why they are might think about it and realize that what they're doing isn't right. Perhaps people around the world, in America, people will think about what they're doing and realize. It's a long shot, and it's really hoping and thinking the best of people that people are actually going to stop, look, and listen. But I'm holding out believing that people have that potential. Now, here's a very interesting article at In5D. It says, when dead come calling, signs that a deceased one is nearby. This is by best-selling author Joni Mahan, The Ghost Diaries. Several days after my grandmother passed away suddenly in her sleep, I had a dream about her. In my dream, my mother and I went to my grandmother's house to clean out her closet so my grandfather wouldn't have to contend with it. As we came into the house, Nanny was sitting on the couch. I was astonished because nobody else could see her. I rushed to where she sat and said, "Nanny, I thought you died." She wrapped me in her arms and said, "I did die, but I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to you. I was only 6 years old, but the dream is as clear as when it happened." Since that time, I've been a student of the paranormal world, learning as much as possible about what happens when we die. One thing I discovered is that loved ones often try to contact us after death. Here are some ways they might reach out to you. Dreams. When we sleep, our vibration rises, nearly matching the higher vibration of the loved one ones in spirit form. Because our subconscious minds are less cluttered than our waking minds, spirits have an easier time getting through to us. For many dreams of this nature have a realistic texture to them, not feeling as dreamlike as most dreams. You will also have a higher probability of remembering it, even if you don't normally remember your dreams. Phantom sense. Loved ones often reveal their presence by sending us scents that we are always associated with. This makes perfect sense, considering scent has the strongest connection to memory recall of any other senses. For some reason, the scent might be of a favorite perfume or the smell of a pipe tobacco. For others, it could be the smell of a favorite meal or bread baking. Frequently, the smell is so faint and fleeting you might attribute it to your imagination, but you shouldn't. It took a lot of energy for your loved one to send that to you. Appreciate it for the gift it was. Misplaced items. When you place your reading glasses on your nightstand and find them on the kitchen counter, you might wonder if you lost your mind. I've had this happen to me repeatedly until a psychic medium friend clued me in that whatever was really happening. A family friend who often visited me liked to play pranks on me, similar to the things she did in life. It made me feel much better knowing it was Betty and not the first signs of dementia. Songs. When I'm traveling long distances, I like listening to my iTunes collection through my car stereo. I don't have to bother with songs I don't like, and there aren't any commercials to contend with. During a recent trip, one family member sent me a distinct warning. 4 songs with the word angel in the title played in a row that definitely got my attention, since my music is set to play randomly. I let them know I was listening and told them to give me the next sign, which was The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars, and then Prayer by Disturbed. With my heart hammering my chest, I got my blinker and got to the slow lane, reducing my speed down to 5 miles an hour to the speed limit. Moments later, a pickup truck buzzed past quickly, weaving back and forth in the lane with obvious signs of driver inebriation. After that, the next song that came on was Drive by Incubus, and then Slow Ride by Foghat. Message received. I drove a bit slower, and I made it home safely. Thoughts that aren't your own. Often we dismiss many of the messages received from our loved ones as our own internal monologue. I did this with my grandmother. In many ways, she was the voice of responsibility that seemed to run through my mind when I wasn't doing what I should be doing. It took me years to understand that it was her and not me telling me to slow down when I was driving too fast, or to get off the computer and start getting ready, or you're going to be late. Ways to determine if this is your thoughts or helpful advice from a deceased friend or family member is to inspect the thought. Typically, if you were thinking this, you'd phrase in the first person format as in, I need to get ready or I'm going to be late, instead of you need to get ready or you're going to be late. When you get these messages, jot them down and see if a pattern emerges. Look for phrases or word usage that is not part of your normal vocabulary. In my case, I asked my mother if Nanny was something of a worrier, and she confirmed it for me. Unexpected gifts. A gift doesn't have to be something purchased from a store. It could be a cherished moment or an act of serendipity. Have you ever had the feeling down and you've received a friendly call from a friend to see how you're doing? Or perhaps your melancholy thoughts might have been interrupted by the sight of a beautiful cardinal landing on your fence post outside your window. Another gift could be a flower blooming outside of season, or a perfect white feather on your doorstep. For me, one of the greatest gifts I ever received came to me Mother's Day 2012. I was feeling especially down. My grown kids made a brief visit to see me, but had work obligation for the rest of the day, leaving me home by myself. Since my own mother was 1,000 miles away in Indiana, I moped around the house all day. I walked her outside to get some fresh air and discovered a baby squirrel sitting on my step, orphaned and abandoned. He needed the one thing I needed to give, mothering. I bottle fed him and eventually released him back into the wild, never doubting this was a gift from a loved one. Meeting the right people when you need them. Don't think for a moment it wasn't coincidence that led you to the so-called chance meeting that changed your life. Think about your life, viewing it as through the rear-view mirror. Was there ever a time when you really needed guidance only to have exactly the right person come along to provide it for you? Mine came right after I wrote my 2014 book, Bones in the Basement. A local metaphysical shop offered to get the book signing for me, and I graciously accepted. While I was there, the shopkeeper noticed that many people were coming in and asking me questions about the paranormal world. We decided to set up a few Paranormal 101 classes, which led me to meeting a group of people who have become like family to me. I really needed those wonderful people to come into my life, and they came in when I needed them most. Funeral signs. According to legendary psychic medium James Van Praagh, everybody attends their own funeral after they die. They will often roam around the room offering comfort to their loved ones, trying to give them signs that they are peaceful in their passing. When most people are turned inwards during funerals, absorbed in their own emotion, if they look outside themselves, they might see the signs their loved ones are trying to give them. It could be a touch on the shoulder, a caress of the face, or simply a fond memory playing in their minds. Watch your pets. If the loved one was someone who was fond of pets, your cat or dog might see them and react to them. Does your dog sometimes wag his tail while staring across the room? Does your cat start purring for no apparent reason? Both dogs and cats are far superior hearing than we do. They can pick up sounds and expand the scope of normal hearing. Their sight is also different, allowing them to see further into the red spectrum. And finally, watching for old habits. Was your father always complaining about people leaving the lights on in the room after they left? One way he might let you know he's there is to frequently turn the lights off, sometimes even while you're still in the room. Was your grandmother fussy about where things were? If you arrange the items, you might find them back to their old familiar locations. Always bear in mind that it takes a tremendous amount of energy for spirits to manipulate the physical world. If you ask for a sign, look for subtle signs as well as the obvious. If your best friend always called you on the phone on Thursdays, you might not receive a phantom phone call, but you might notice difficulties with the phone itself. The soul is eternal, and your loved ones will always let you know this is the best of their abilities. Life goes on for them, but in a different way. Watch for the signs because they are there. You just have to know where to look for them. All right, and let's jump over to our message for today. Here we go.
Message from Lord Sananda.
Channeled by Cindy McGonigal, November 2015.
Greetings, dear ones. So much is happening with the new weather patterns due to the warming of the waters of the Pacific. Many species of fish and sea mammals and invertebrates are being displaced from their homes, unable to sustain themselves in their original habitats. When you start to see migrations of animals moving southward, only to find even warmer waters, creating a natural die-off effect. It is so very important that existing resources of pure water be protected, and not let get full of toxins from chemicals, mining, exploratory ocean drilling for oil, and petroleum waste products. Supporting clean industries is very important for the future health of the planet. In your homes, take the time to clean and reorganize your things. Doing so will help new lighter energies to permeate your space. Take time to be grateful for all the good in your life, in your family's lives, and that you are ready and able to receive more good in your life now. Look forward to greeting each day with renewed enthusiasm, confidence, joy, and happiness that you are contributing to the ever-expanding Earth consciousness, in a positive manner. Eat vibrant foods that give your body energy and renew your cells vigor. Drink plenty of water even if you do not feel thirsty to keep hydrated. Smile and share your beautiful energies with others, and know you are deeply loved and supported. Blessings, Lord Sananda.
All right, good message. And that brings us to the Warrior of the Light for today, 128. The Warrior of Light concentrates on the small miracles of daily life. He is capable of seeing what is beautiful because he carries beauty within himself, for the world is a mirror and gives back to each man the reflection of his own face. The warrior knows his faults and limitations, but he does all he can to maintain his good humor in moments of crisis. The world is, after all, doing its best to help him, even though everything around him seems to say the opposite. So, let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. Now let's just imagine ourselves filling up with energy, like we're at a gas station. We pull up to the pump, and we just put our hand on the pump, and we feel the energy exchange from the pump to our hand, and our body fills with energy. And we realize through this process that life is filled with energy, and all moments we have an opportunity to energize ourselves, not only from the things around us, from that which is within us. So we go inside to activate the energy centers, the chakras running down the middle of the spine. So we start at the first one at the bottom of the spine, which is colored red, drawing the energy from the ground, from the earth. And that energy moves up higher to the chakra right at the belly button. This is the orange colored chakra. And then the energy moves up higher there, just below the rib cage, to the color yellow. And from the yellow chakra, it moves up to the heart, where it is the color green. And from the green heart chakra, it moves up to the throat. Blue is the color. From the blue throat chakra, it moves up between the two eyes. Indigo for the third eye, to help us see through dimensions of space and time. And finally to the crown chakra. The color is violet, and the light continues on into the cosmos as bright white light. Imagine yourself filled with this energy. Imagine the love filling your body from the heart chakra, and all the other energies from the other chakras filling your body. And just imagine expanding this love out into the world, starting first by expanding it out into the place where you are now, in all directions. Expand that energy out into the city where you live, to the state, to the country, across the sea to the other countries. Now let's just imagine the entire earth bathed in love. And as this love bathes the earth, let's just imagine all of the problems, all of the fighting and the disruptions. Let's find them coming to an end, because love opens all hearts and minds to a greater understanding. So let our subconscious mind continue moving on this journey of love, sending out love and light. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Look, no matter all the craziness going on in the world, each and every one of us has an opportunity to make a difference. Doesn't have to be a difference doing something physically. It could be doing something affecting the fire, the water, and the air, because all those things affect the earth. So put good ideas into the world, fire. Put good emotions into the world, water, and take the proper actions that will keep us walking down the path of righteousness, air. Fire, water, air, we can create the earth. These problems are just challenges for us to overcome. We can do it. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We just need to take the action now that we are here. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I love you. Keep loving each other. Talk to you tomorrow.